Hey guys, first to Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about every single melee weapon in Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 and tier listing them. And now, this patch has given us a brand new melee weapon with the Omnissian Axe. And before we even get into this list, I do want to say we were talking about the relic tier variants on this one, not the heroic options, so just keep that in mind. Now, number one, we have the Power Sword. The Power Sword's kind of strange for me in that I do love this weapon. I think it's really fun. I think it's one of the coolest weapons in 40k lore and in this game. Unfortunately, the way it's implemented in the game currently, it's kind of just a power rake machine. All you do with this weapon is just like light attack into heavy attack over and over and over. That is like where 90% of your damage comes from, and it's not like the worst thing ever, but it has fallen off in comparison to some other options recently. And at the moment, I do think it could use a buff, even though they did buff up all the balance options in this patch. I think the Power Sword especially could like use a bit of a perk tree rework, but for now, I would say it goes into the B tier. It's not a bad weapon at all. It is really fun to use. It can definitely go and push up into harder content. It is just a bit more limited compared to other options. Things like the Power Fist do way more single target damage, and the Power Axe has way more utility, so I think it belongs in B. Now, the next weapon we'll be talking about here is the Thunder Hammer. The Thunder Hammer is a strange weapon in that this weapon is absolutely S tier damage, and really in certain content like Siege mode, it is 100% S tier because on the Assault class, this will give your ground pound 100 cleave, which means you can hit up to 100 enemies and deal damage to them with a single ground pound. That is a lot of value from a single jump pack charge, and with Zealous Blow, with the amount of horde spawns in Siege mode, it is S tier. Now, for operations and hard strats, it does scale down a little bit, but to be honest, this weapon is still a top tier option in Space Marine 2. The AoE damage is incredible, and in patch 12, they have finally fixed the Aftershock improved to properly give you back CHP. Prior to this, the second hit of your Aftershock and the second hit of any like chain weapon hit in this game would not give you proper CHP back. They have fixed that. It feels way better now. And even though the main thing holding this weapon back is the lack of like real speed on this thing, they did up the balanced version's base damage alongside all the other balanced weapon damage in the game. That has helped out the balanced version tremendously. And spamming out ground slams and spamming out aftershocks, they feel way better on this thing. And right now, I think the Thunder Hammer is firmly in an A tier overall, or like S tier for Siege. So a really strong option. You really can't go wrong, even though it is pretty slow. Next weapon here is the Chainsword. The Chainsword is an interesting weapon in that this was a top tier option in the game for a very long time, but these days it has been power crept a little bit, mainly because of the full throttle combo skip nerf. There is now a delay between your full throttle skips, which means that you can't get out quite as much damage as before. And on top of that, other weapons have been buffed and they just have way more utility than this one does. The main reason to use the Chainsword is just like general horde clear and CHP recovery. The swift recovery perk is still quite strong for CHP because you do get double CHP back from your heavy attacks. That is pretty good. On a Vanguard, it's still quite strong, but the damage here is just not that incredible anymore, and it's really more of like a mediocre utility weapon. I probably put it into like B tier. I do actually think the Chainsword might be below the Power Sword currently, but you know, we're going to talk about the heroic versions, but the balanced version got a buff here in this patch. You could argue it might belong in A with like a Wings of Flame Assault build, but to be honest, anything with Wings of Flame Assault right now is going to be a top tier option because Wings of Flame with commitment at the moment is just kind of on crack. But I think they're just way better options than the Chainsword currently, so I'm going to put it in B for now. Now, the next weapon we're going to be talking about is the Power Axe. The Power Axe on the patch 10 launch was really like the worst melee weapon in the game, but after patch 11, where they gave it the power backstep to the block version, after patch 12 with the balanced weapon buff, this thing is absolutely peak. Power backstep is such a free damage ability on multiple enemies. This is one of the most damaging weapons in this game. It also just gives you free stagger on like every parry for every enemy in front of you, including bosses. I just think the Power Axe is absolutely S tier. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game, and you can definitely tell that the moveset of the Power Axe was like a post-launch moveset because it feels way more intricate than like a Thunder Hammer or a Chainsword. And even though the Power Sword is like a pretty tech-heavy weapon, the Power Axe is a ton of fun to use, and it's really good on like every melee class. Next weapon here is the brand new Omnissian Axe. Now, this is the only melee weapon on this list that is exclusive to one class. Only the Techmarine can use this, and because of that, it is pretty much built just for him. because basically the Omnissian Axe would just not properly function on like half the classes in this game, because the main selling point of this is number one, the Omnissian Rush can give you like a 50% range damage reduction while you're charging, and on top of that, you also have massive AoE stagger with the discharge ability, but properly using the discharge is very difficult unless you were the Techmarine, because Techmarine can do gun strikes for free. So basically with the Omnissian Axe, you parry an enemy or you get a gun strike on an enemy, then you immediately put down your light attack, you shoot them with that gun strike while you're charging up your discharge, and you blow them up for like a one combo in the balanced version. The Omnissian Axe, I think, is currently very strong. I think this weapon is actually very underrated by the player base currently. I don't think it's quite S tier, but like as far as gap close is concerned, it is very good with the Omnissian Rush. And as far as damage is concerned, it is also a top tier option. So I'd firmly put it in the A tier. I think once players like really get more of a handle on this thing, it's going to feel way better, and it's definitely one of the best options on the Techmarine currently. Now, the next melee weapon we'll be talking about here is the combat knife. Now, the combat knife is a little strange. For a long time after the block weapon buff, the block combat knife was like the premier single target shadow stab knife. But these days, the combat knife has like kind of been completely power crept by its heroic variants. The brand new Argent Edge is way better than the fencing version for the relic tier, and the balance option on the Power Gladius is way better than the relic tier balanced option. And the block knife is okay, but like it's really not bringing a whole lot to the table compared to other options. Even if you're playing like sniper and you only have a combat knife, there is just no reason to take the relic tier options anymore. And I think this kind of firmly puts it into C tier. Like every other melee weapon in this game, there is a reason to use non-heroic variants. Like the Power Sword is good without the Xenophase Blade. The Chainsword has options beyond the heroic Chainsword. I mean, the Omnissian Axe definitely has options beyond the heroic version, and same with the Thunder Hammer. We'll see how these go when they get like other options added to them, but the combat knife especially, I think the base versions could use a huge buff, because there's just no real reason to take them anymore. I know we're not really talking about the heroic weapons in this list that much, but like it's kind of impossible to not mention them here, because the combat knife especially is being held back, or its relic tier variants are being held back by how good the heroic versions are. And the heroic versions are fun. It's just kind of unfortunate, like we've limited the options on the base weapon. Final weapon here is the Power Fist. Now, the Power Fist, what can we say about the Power Fist, guys? Power Fist got even better this patch. We got a base damage buff to the balanced variants of all weapons in the game, and now the balanced Power Fist might even be better than the Block Fist in some areas. The base damage is actually currently higher than the Block Fist, which means without like a single Adrenaline Surge charge, you will be doing more with the balanced version, and having stagger on parry can be very strong. You know, Space Marine 2, with the fact that the discrepancy between all the defense types in the game currently is not that enormous. Like there isn't just a one catch all for all playstyles. There was that for a while with block weapons, but now balance feels way better. Fencing can be way better in some scenarios against like Minoris and just staggering enemies that will lock you. And the Power Fist is currently in a better spot than ever because of that. And the Power Fist is already a god tier weapon, mainly because this weapon just one-shots with heavy attacks like on Majoris and above, even Extremis at times. You'll basically be able to punch through one Majoris into like 5 Majoris behind them. This is a top tier weapon for sure. Probably the best weapon in the entire game, in my opinion. I mean, the Power Axe is definitely S tier, but Power Fist, this thing does great boss damage, great Majoris damage, great Extremis damage. It also has a 20-meter range with the Tide of Battle perk, which basically makes it a ranged weapon. And because of that, you can actually save ammo on classes like the Bulwark and Assault with this, because it's punch zone throws out of the sky. So definitely S tier. They have not nerfed this thing at all. It's actually just better than it was before. And because of that, it's at the tippity top once again. And that's pretty much all there is for the melee weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12. You know, the melee weapon balance in this game is pretty good at the moment. I mean, there really isn't just a one fits all, like I said before, for like every melee weapon in the game. The Power Sword, Chainsword, and Relic tier variants of the combat knife, it could probably use a buff, but as far as like all the weapon options go in the game, like heroics included, it's in a pretty decent spot. But let me know what you guys think about the melee weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12, and as always, thank you for watching. If you like content like this, subscribe for more, and take it easy. Bye.